What's up from Hardrock country?
Yeah, well, you're enjoying the high life.
Yeah,
up there in the mountains.
yeah. I'm for those of you listening out there, I'm on vacation. Well, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I'm in Southwest Colorado near the San Juan Mountains, staying in Dolores, Colorado, with Jessica's cousin Joe and his wife Deborah. And we did the hike yesterday with up the ice from Silverton area, like up to Ice Lake and Island Lake, which is one of the famous Hardrock course signifiers. You know, that Island Lake. And this picture in my background right here is a picture I took on the hike down from Island Lake. So
dang,
yeah.
What was the highest elevation you got to?
Island Lake, I believe, is around 12,500 or maybe 12,700 feet above sea level.
Getting that good thin air.
It's a little thin up there. I'm not gonna lie. But no, it's a great hike, and beautiful area. I mean, there's just trails like as far as you can see. But getting close to Hardrock, and it's in a couple weeks, and just cool to be out here. Saw a couple runners, one guy training for Hardrock, and
So what was at 12.5 at that, up in Colorado that time of year, snowpack? Like how much snow you looking at? Was it deep still or no?
Well, there was a couple patches. We crossed a few snow fields where, it was down like a couple feet for sure.
Yeah.
But it wasn't horrible. But the Ice Lake that we hiked up to, it was, I would say, 90% covered in ice.
Really?
Yeah. And I was gonna do the Wim Hof plunge. But I just stuck my hand in and pulled my hand out, and I will tell you, my hand was numb. It was so like the water temperature it's as cold as water can get. I'm sure of that.
Yeah. It's like hanging out on like 32.1 degrees, right? Like
and it was really windy. So if I went under and came back up, I'm sure I would have hypothermia instantly.
I think that's the one thing that's like the cruelest thing about Colorado, right? Is like you have all that great trail running, but you really only get to enjoy the trail running.
Yeah.
What, 4 months maybe out of the year?
If that. I mean,
if that, yeah.
I'm saying you have 3 really good months.
Yeah.
And if you're lucky, maybe 4 or 5 months, and then and you're gonna get shut down by winter.
Yeah.
I often think about that, like how great it would be to live here. It's just hundreds of miles of trails. Like it's just trails everywhere, and it's just beautiful. Like just, I don't know, you can't even describe it in words.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like where I live now, I can access the trails all year round, and it's
for the Bay Area in Marin County, like bad running weather, it's like 60 degrees.
Yeah, it's rain is what it is. It's like rain and like 50 degrees and rain. That would maybe hard driving rain, but nonetheless,
that'd be cold as hell. That'd be cold as shit too.
It is cold, but I will say, like, there's never been a day where I wanted to go out for a run and I haven't because of the weather.
yeah, for sure.
So, but anyways, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
A little action-packed week, but not too awful crazy,
Yeah.
So, well, good times.
Yeah. All right.
Getting old has a ton of privileges. Let me just tell you, I had a nice little bout with pericarditis. So, that's always fun. I don't know if I guess getting old doesn't really matter on pericarditis, but I was
Little trip to the ER, maybe.
little fun little trip to the ER for pericarditis. Let me just tell you, sitting in the OSU, which for if you're not a Columbus, Ohio kind of person, OSU ER is a level 1 trauma center. So some of Columbus's finest, boy. Okay, you're just sitting there like I am.
Yeah.
I am enjoying the people watching for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
so
the ER anywhere you go is just a crazy place. So.
I mean, just sitting there, you're like, this person's clearly in a mental health break, and like while we sit, I hate to say it, but while I sit there, I watch multiple people walk in, like they're like doing a self-admit, and they're like, right there's the door, Haas. Head on back in. They're like, okay, thanks. And like to everyone's credit, like they walk in super chill. The people don't judge them. They check them in. They get them squared away. They get them back on the bed. But like I watched 2 or 3 people do it. And so those are like the ones you're like, oh, that's unfortunate, but it's kind of heartwarming in the same way.
Yeah.
But then meanwhile, you have like people sitting there who are like not in any kind of like major like issue. And are just shit talking to staff about like not getting seen fast enough. I'm like, homie, you're in here for like a hangnail, I'm guessing. Like, pump the brakes. Like, let's not. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, it was quite the ride. It was quite the ride.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're okay, man.
Thanks.
and all our podcast listeners are glad you're okay too.
I'm sure. So. Anywho,
speaking of podcast listeners, I know we're not going to do the whole like which state is best thing anymore or which state listens the most anymore. But I do want to say that after we said something about Michigan listeners last episode, like they have just like shown up in droves. I don't know how it's even possible, but like 95 downloads this month for Michigan, and California 26, Ohio 21. Like, where are Ohio peeps?
Hey, we're busy over here, man. We're busy over here. What I do love is like I really think like it's the folks from the new 100 mile, like they're excited and they have every right to be excited. It's a cool new race.
Yeah.
So they're coming out to see what's going on. Like, oh hey, I ran that race. I heard the name getting dropped. Let's swing by and check it out. So it is really cool to watch. I think one of the fun things about doing podcasts with me here in Ohio and you out there in Cali is kind of watching like the Midwest and the Far West, right? And like watching everything just slowly kind of close in on the middle as we talk about different races in the middle. And
it's sparse. Like we have a few listeners and in a bunch of different states, really. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, Ohio, we haven't forgot about you. You are our OG,
still the bread and butter.
And,
still the bread and butter.
Both of Johnny lives in Ohio. Like I have Ohio roots. So we still love you, Ohio. But anyway, let's see what we got going here. Let's jump into some race results, and we can start with Bighorn 100. Bighorn is in Wyoming. It's 100 mile out and back. It's 50 miles out, 50 miles back. Mm-hmm. And it's a very technical course and oftentimes very muddy. And there's like just short of 21,000 feet of climb and descent. And this year, let's see here. Anthony Lee won Bighorn 100 in 21 hours and 36 minutes. And Charlie Michelet's finished in second, 21 hours and 48 minutes. So just 12 minutes behind first place. And then in the women's race, Carissa Kenny was first, 23 hours and 35 minutes. Christina Richards was second, 23 hours and 42 minutes. So Bighorn is one of those iconic kind of races. It's a Hardrock qualifier, so it's not easy.
Yeah,
And it's very remote in Dayton, Wyoming.
Not the Dayton we know and love.
No, not Dayton, Ohio. Not I think there's Dayton's in a few states, but Dayton, Wyoming, it's like way out there. All right, let's move on to Tahoe. Tahoe 200 started last week, and Johnny is a former finisher of Tahoe 200.
Yeah. This I tell you, man, like Pete Griggs sent me a picture that he snagged from like an Instagram post or something like that. And it's at the top of Powerline Hill, which is just an absolute
ball buster.
I don't know how people go up that thing and don't MF it all the way up it. Like, I mean, like, I had Mark Carroll with me on that stretch of it. And I mean, I must have MF'd that thing 100 times up that, because it is like, and it's sadistic because like you start off at this pretty cool little restaurant as an aid station, leading into that climb, and then you just kind of weave kind of along this little waterway in this really nice neighborhood. Like I actually still really remember, like I want to say I was going through that neighborhood at like just before dawn. And it was just really quiet, really subtle, and I'm like, oh, this is really nice. And like really exclusive. And I remember like taking this little left and like the road got steep. And I remember thinking, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like the road is steep, you know what I mean? And then like you make a right, and then it's literally you're on the road and you just make a left and boom. And like you look up and there's a giant power lines right over you, basically.
Jeez.
And I mean, it's the only time I've ever been on the West Coast where there was literally not a switchback.
Yeah.
I mean, literally not. Like, I think at one point you flattened out for like 4 feet. Like, just long enough that it actually kind of annoyed you that you flattened out.
Like where one of the towers was sitting?
Essentially, like, yeah, you had to go around a rock. You're like, motherfucker. You're like, what? Who put a rock here? Yeah. And like other than that, I think it's just straight up. But I will say, at the top of it, like the level of pride, and like you're like, damn, like this is awesome. Now the other thing is that is like, I mean, it might be 150 miles into the race. I think going that direction. It's definitely not 175 because I kind of remember the 175 mark, and it's definitely over 100 because I remember the 100 mark. So I'm guessing it's like 150-ish is where the power line is.
Yeah. So it's like deep into the race, so your legs are just trashed.
Deep in the race.
Yeah.
Deep in the race. And like you're just like, I mean, you're just leaning on your poles and just kind of moving your poles out in front of you, catching up to your poles. You know what I mean? Like
every 10 feet, you stop in the land, like lean on your poles. And
so I stole this. I can't remember. I want to say I want to give this credit to Chad Heald. It might have been Mark. It could have been Keith. Someone told, don't ever stop on the hills. Don't ever stop on the hills. I will say.
Easier said than done, but.
But I was so afraid of stopping on that and not being able to get the inertia to go. I mean, I am telling you, it's that steep. Like, I was terrified to stop on that thing. So I just one foot in the other and just put my head down and MF'd it all the way up that thing. I did not stop. Every once in a while when I got to a flat stop, I'm like, woof. And like, oh, God damn it, here we go.
Yeah.
All the way up that thing. But it is, I do have a really dope picture, like, like facing away from the camera, arms spread with the poles in my hands.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, Tahoe 200, man, it is a super, super cool race. It's a funny thing when people are like, oh, so where is that? You're like, oh, it's around the lake.
It used to be all the way around, right? When you did it?
Yeah.
So the course, due to fires and some other reasons, I think the course has changed. I think since you've done it.
No shit. Oh,
So if you look at this map here, this flag right here,
Yeah.
that flag is the start and finish. Okay.
No.
So, and this is in, I don't know, it's in South Lake Tahoe. Okay. So you start at this flag in South Lake Tahoe, and then you go south. You can see where this map goes south. And this is like, I think 30 miles out. And then you turn around and you go 30 miles back to the start finish. There's even a little out and back right here too at Armstrong Pass aid station. And then you get back to the start finish and you're 60 miles in. Okay. And then you go 70 miles north and you curve around the north end of the lake and you drop down over here in Tahoe City. And then you're 130 miles into the race at this point. And then you go back. So it's a double out and back.
Well, listen, I'm not going to take anything away from someone running 200 miles.
Yeah.
But, I mean, get the F out of here. I mean, like, if we're not, if first off, they don't have to go up. I don't know what the start finish is like. All right. I don't know what the start finish is like. But first off, the year I did it, well, and like every year up until, because it always started at the same spot. You literally start at the bottom of a ski mountain and went up the effing ski mountain. So,
yeah,
listen,
up a double black diamond to start.
Yeah. So listen, I don't know what they're going up now, but I'm assuming it's not that. That sucked. And by the way, they don't have to mess with the Rubicon.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I remember going up parts of the Rubicon, and it was essentially like the best analogy.
Right here.
Yeah. And so the best analogy I could ever give anybody of what it was like to climb certain parts of the Rubicon on trail, on trail. The best description I can give is imagine taking your stairway in your house or an apartment or whatever. Imagine taking a stairway and just filling it with like different size of like balls, like basketballs, small basketballs, big basketballs, the big like Swiss balls, like all kinds of different balls, and like maybe an occasional like flat stair here and there, but like walking up that for
just rocks
for solid, and like it's like it was just miserable, and like there was just parts of it. So like it now, so what's kind of funny is Tahoe City actually was, and that's like that turnaround point up there in the northwest corner of the lake.
Yep.
So Tahoe City is actually where one of the aid stations used to be. As a matter of fact, if you zoom in on it really closely, there's a restaurant there called Bridge Tender Tavern and Grill. And that used to be the aid station at like mile
right here.
Yeah. So
there
that used to be, and so like the little parking lot that's across the way.
Yeah.
I absolutely annihilated a quesadilla.
Like you took it to task.
Food all over my face, and I think there's still somewhere out there. There's probably still really funny video of me mumbling like incoherent words while trying to cram a quesadilla in my mouth. So the funny thing is, all right, so this also, that's another funny thing that this eliminates. So because you turn around here, after you left that aid station, you went a little bit more like south, right? Like as long as you're going the clockwise or the counterclockwise way.
Yeah.
You went a little bit more south, and there was a climb that Keith Flint was with me on, and like you climbed this thing forever. And it opened up into one of the prettiest things I've ever seen in my life. But it kind of opened up onto this like really open area with not a single tree in sight. And I remember Keith Flint and I coming out to that top of that aid station or top of that little hill and not being able to see anything. And Keith's like, you sit your sleepy ass down right here. Don't move. Keep your headlight on. I'll come back and find you. Don't move. And Keith had to go do like a little recon. It's like, okay, I found the flag over here. Like, hey, this way. and I
Yeah.
go stacking across. But like by
Like
taking
quesadilla
out,
brain.
yeah. And so I want to say that's like that's probably mile 175. I want to say Tahoe City is probably like mile 175-ish. But taking out that last like 25 miles from there in,
Yeah.
it did take out some really, like, so taking out that 25 down and then taking out everything on the west and the southwest side of the lake, it took out some really, really, really hard stuff.
Yeah, I know the west side of the lake is like the most technical and crazy. You know, the east side of the lake is some really nice trails and stuff.
Yeah.
The one thing that I love running at Tahoe. I mean, it's just awesome, stunning views, everything. But that stone dust is just oh my God, that stuff gets in your lungs, and you always hear about people at the Tahoe cough, and you know, it's just that stuff is just nasty. But
if you zoom in, you see that straight line that comes straight down right there, like into Tahoe City. See how it has that straight line coming down in, like whoop right there.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, like right this. Well, I'm sitting drawing my cursor on. Like you can see my cursor. Scoot back up a little bit. So, right, like the trail. Like see how the trail comes right down into Tahoe City right there. Yeah. Okay. Everything that's paralleling that, right, or coming perpendicular into that. Mark Carroll was with me on that section, and dude, I'm telling you, now, again, sleepy brain, but it looked like we were running on the edge of a cliff, and like we were right about where your mouse is right now. Like it looks like the little white mouse is right about now.
Yeah.
We were right around that area. And we look across the lake and you could see a storm coming across.
Oh.
And it was funny because Mark and I are both like, I wonder how fast a storm can get across the lake. The answer to that riddle is extremely fast because we were still up on that ledge and it started pounding us. All right. And so you see how it gets like really straight and it looks like it's just a straight line into Tahoe City?
Yeah.
That's because it is. You are up on that, and like if you're good at reading topo, you can kind of tell that's pretty steep, right?
Yeah,
leading up
totally.
to it.
Yeah.
And then so you hit that, and it's like you are, dude. I listen. We are a lot of miles into the race. I feel like I was doing 9-minute miles down that thing. We are just like getting pelted in the rain.
Oh shit.
We were laughing like little schoolboys running down the side of this mountain. Like it was so much fun. We had an absolute blast. But yeah, that race is. I'm really sad that they took out that west side. I did not know about that. I'm really sad about that.
Yeah, I don't know the specific details. I think there was fire damage was part of it. I'm not sure. Maybe it makes race logistics easier for destination trail. I'm not sure, but anyway, so it was exciting because some of the people from Cocodona 250 were also running in this race, and you know, two people who podiumed at Cocodona 250 also won this race. Geraldus Sabertus. He at Cocodona 250, he overtook Jeff Browning with just maybe like 5 miles to go or something.
Yeah.
And went on to win Cocodona 250. Well, he had another insanely good race. He was on course record pace, but I think he fell off of course record pace, but he still got it done in I believe it was 53 hours.
53 hours, 50 minutes.
Yeah. So he just absolutely annihilated Tahoe. And then Michael McKnight, who has won Cocodona 250, I think last year, he got second. So he had a much better showing at Tahoe than he did at Cocodona this year. So yeah, he got second. Do you have Michael McKnight's time?
Yeah, he was 2 days, 8 hours, and 2 minutes.
Okay.
So
48, 56.
48 plus 8.
So he's like three hours behind Geraldus.
Yeah, 3 hours behind him. Which is wild, right? Like, think about how far that is.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty funny if you think about how far 3 hours is behind somebody on that race.
Right,
Like, pretty insane.
Yeah. And then Mika Twos, who got third at Cocodona 250, she at Cocodona 250, she had like a 12-hour rest. She was in the lead, had like a 12-hour rest after a bad fall, and still got third. So she had a really good race at Tahoe, and she ended up winning. I think she was 57 or 58 hours.
2 days. So yeah, 57 hours, 8 minutes.
Okay.
Only an hour behind McKnight.
Yeah. So so she had a great race. Like, she was third overall, almost second overall. She just crushed it. Very strong showing. And and then second place for the women was Claire Banworth, who is just a legend. I mean, and she's from England, and she's really, like, she's won the spine race. She's just won all kinds of races. She's just a real badass, and she got second.
Eighth overall too. She came in at 2 days and 18 hours.
Okay.
So what is that? So like 48 plus 18. What is 48. That? 48 plus 18. So 66 hours. 66 hours and 18 minutes.
Still, I mean, that's just awesome, right? So Tahoe 200 is in the books. This race used to be in the fall. I think when you ran it was probably in September.
Shit, yeah. Jack totally forgot that too. Yeah, it was like September 15th, because it's really close to my birthday. So it's kind of, so we talked about snowpack at the beginning of our call out there in Colorado. So I ran this damn race in September. And I remember getting up to a couple of the higher elevations, and it was like, damn it, like trying to cut through ice snow, or snow ice, or whatever the heck you want to call it. But I mean, like, even in September, that snow had made it all the way to September, and like you're stepping through it and getting like little scratches on your legs. I think there was only like 1 or 2 sections of that, like, but right at the start finish, I feel like I remember climbing up and there being some up there. The other thing that I find really, really funny about this, and I've made a ton of jokes about this, because I just feel like it's one of the funnier aspects of it, is not so much Claire, but a lot of other, like, for sure your podium folks, your first 3, for sure, they could finish the race. Like, let's pretend like they were lawyers, right? They could finish the race and then put in a full 40-hour billable work week before I finished the race in 96 hours. Like, that's the part of that kind of race that really cracks me up. Is like, you have those folks doing it in like 50 some odd hours.
Yeah.
It took me 96.
Yeah.
Like it kind of, in a weird way, it kind of reminds me of like Tommy Boy. A lot of people go to school for 7 years. Yeah, Tommy, they're called doctors. And it's like, in my mind, it's like, a lot of people take an extra 40 hours to do it. Yeah, John, it's called billable hours. Lawyers do it in a week. You're like, damn, that's right.
Yeah. So, well, some people can just sustain a run and go without sleep, and just, I don't know. It's a different kind of race. It's a lot different than a 100-miler, though, when you're doing, multi nights. And so,
listen, I paid a lot of money for that race. I was gonna get every ounce of my money out of it. And that's the whole thing. I could have went faster. I just want my money out of it. Yeah.
So one more thing about Tahoe before we move on. The real hero of Tahoe 200 is this guy. His name is Bruce, and he was a volunteer at the Village Green aid station. And at 1 a.m., a bear came into the aid station and stole a drop bag. and and apparently Bruce ran after the bear, yelled and screamed, and then the bear dropped the drop bag, and Bruce was able to retrieve it safely. Runner Conrad Easby might be missing a few granola bars and have some bear slobber as a souvenir. This guy has also ran all 3 of the races that Destination Trail puts on. And he's doing Bigfoot this year, Bigfoot 200. He brought his whole squad of Navy SEAL cadets, Corps, and 3 sons to join him in volunteering. So good for them. It's awesome. Great to have people come out volunteer, especially at a 200 when it's like way more time intensive.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's pretty badass that he got the drop bag back from a bear.
I feel like that you never use that bag again. Like that goes up on like a plaque or something like that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on. We're gonna go to 6 days in the Dome. This is in Wisconsin, and this is like, as far as timed events go, this is like one of the most well-known timed events. And the cool thing about it is it takes place at an ice rink and in a dome. So the temperature indoors is 50 to 55 degrees with 30 to 35% humidity. I mean, I don't know how much more perfect running conditions you can get than that, but it's a 443 meter track. There's 3 lanes. So just a little over a quarter mile, I guess, right? There's 3 lanes, and it's 6 days in the Dome. So there's all different events here, you know. You have the 6-day. They even had a 10-day event this year that they started, I believe.
Yeah.
But the big story here this year is that Zach Bitter did 100 miles in 11 hours and 51 minutes. That's the 4th fastest American 100-mile time and the 15th fastest in the world. So Zach is known to do these multi-day events, or, you know, like track 100 milers.
Yeah.
He can just sustain a fast pace and just keep on chugging. So
for 11 hours on a 443 meter track, do you think that for 11 straight hours you just heard lane?
Yeah.
Lane? I mean, that guy's this dude. Like, I mean, like, what? Like, because it's so weird. Like, they almost had to have given him a dedicated lane, right? And like, hey, listen, it doesn't make sense to me.
There is. I remember following this from a couple of years ago when I think Air Vipa or, you know, Mountain Outpost, Jamil Curry, they covered this race a couple of years ago, and they were talking about that. And there's one lane, the inside lane, I think, is for runners, like people running.
Yeah.
And, you know, the outside lane is for the walkers, or maybe it's the other way around, but they have designated. But you're right. Someone like Zach, who's holding down a 7, to 8 minute mile, is going to be passing everybody, runners, walkers. So I guarantee you that he ran more than 100 miles, because having to go around people. And this isn't, and these are straight, it's not a bank curve or anything like that. So
I think like in a weird way, like I want to err on the side of like him just being an overly like nice dude and just understanding, hey, listen, like, yeah, I'm trying to run this really fast, but also I'm not the only person here, right? And so like he has to have been like just like kind of cool with the fact that like, hey, like there's a lot of people here going really, really, really slow. Because like some of the videos and some of the pictures that's coming out, I mean, it looks like mall walkers. It looks like little old grandmas and grandpas walking the mall. I mean, I've seen a couple. Like they're in like full on ass like puffer jackets, knit caps, mittens. You know what I mean? So like,
Yep.
it really is interesting.
It is interesting. And also the other big story at 6 Days in the Dome was Larry Stevens. So let me share this tab. This guy, okay, he set a U.S. national age group record in the 24-hour. He's the age group 65 to 69. He's 67 from Portland, and he did 128.74 miles in the 24 hours. So he set an age group record, U.S. national record.
I mean, first off, that's freaking insane. That in 24 hours, a dude 60 plus years old.
67, yeah.
67.
Yeah.
67 years old did a
like
100.
He's taking the max Social Security payout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he goes and hammers out 100 and how many miles?
128.74.
All right. So he does 128 miles in 24 hours.
And he was 5th male and 7th overall in the Invitational.
Dude, that's crazy.
So I should back up a little bit. The Invitational is like all the fast runners, like Zach Bitter.
Yeah.
It's like the special group that did the 24-hour. So, but yeah, he just crushed it, man. Pretty cool.
I mean, what's kind of funny, my math is definitely going to be way wrong here, but is Zach Bitter running 3 times faster than him?
Well, this is 24 hours. So over two times faster, right?
Because Zach did 100
He finished 11:51. So
100 miles in 11:51.
Yeah. So this guy did in 12 more hours, did 28 more miles in 12 hours. Yeah. So yeah.
So even this dude who is like hauling ass
and 7th overall,
it's just getting his doors blown off by Zach. Like every second
ding,
or third
ding,
lap,
ding.
Zach's like, ding, ding, like just like eat this dude. Like for me, like that is the hilarious part about like because this is like going back to what you're saying, like this is an extremely short loop. Like it's a 4:43, right? So it's a really, 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 really short loop.
Yeah.
It's like it's just so funny.
It's like a track. It's like a track loop, basically.
Yeah. It's just 43 meters longer than a high school track, essentially.
Yeah.
Like it's just so funny in my mind. Like it'd be kind of funny to go up and watch it one year, just to watch it for a few hours.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even be opposed to like going and doing the 12-hour or the 24-hour, just screw around.
I think I could convince myself to do the 12. The 24, whew, that's a lot of loops, boy.
Yeah, if it was a 1 mile loop or something, maybe that would be better. But
that's awesome.
All right, so the summer version of the Spine Race over in England, which is in the Lakes District, is going on right now, actually. And I don't think too many people have finished, but this guy did win, Chris Cope. And apparently he looked like $1 million when he finished. Like, there he is. People online were like, this guy just go out for like a 5K or what? But he finished he has type 1 diabetes too.
Because he has the little
glucose.
little Bluetooth. Yeah.
Oh, that probably maybe feeds him some insulin too. 79 hours, 10 minutes.
He just ups the insulin before the race. He's like, let's go, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, and this race is 268 miles, by the way, on the Pennine Way in England. It's known to have bad weather. They have a winter version and they have a summer version, and they got, like, I guess at the start of the race, they just got pounded by rain. yeah, and it was just a super boggy course. So, but yeah, he finished, and I'm not sure if the first place female has finished yet. But as of yesterday, when I did the show prep, there was not a female finisher. But I am going to the tracking right now.
Yeah. While you pull up the tracking, a lady by the name of Kinningham was in first, and then she was advised by medical to drop. So
Okay.
the front runners for the women should be like Sue Straw,
Yep. Sue
Rachel
Straw.
Price.
Sue Straw is at hut number 1, aid station, and 114 hours. So that's pretty close to finishing.
Yeah.
I believe.
And then Rachel Price and Lynn Davies should be not too far behind her. It sounds like.
Yep. That's right. So, and they're both at CP5 aid station. So, yeah. So still unknown, but Sue Straw looks like kind of in command. But last time we said that someone was in command. Cocodona 250. A lot changed overnight. So we'll see. We'll see what happened. All right.
That's one jinx anybody.
All right. That's it for race results. Not too many races last weekend. Really, not too many like big races. LazCon update. I haven't even looked at LazCon updates lately, but looks like June 18th, Jared Beasley posted a poignant moment on today's LazCon. The geezer made it to Commerce, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
The boyhood home of Mickey Mantle, and then the same day Willie Mays passed away. And that was June 18th. So 2 days ago. And that picture here on X, Twitter, whatever, is the boyhood home of Mickey Mantle in Commerce, Oklahoma. So Laz is in Oklahoma somewhere. Still trucking. So,
Oklahoma's got to be a tough state to run through in June. Like, I would assume it's starting to get kind of hot, but also, man, like
thunderstorms, tornadoes,
yeah, like
dust storms.
Yeah, that's got to be a tricky one.
And a lot of nothing.
A lot of nothing, yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, he's in as of June 17th. He's in Oklahoma. So that's the LazCon update, and the hardest geezer update. So last episode, I said he was just running from home into the Euros, England Euros, the European Championship soccer match in Germany. Wasn't just running to the one soccer match. He's running to all of their soccer matches in England, or I'm sorry, in Germany at the European Championships. So like his last post was day 9 of running to the Euros. And basically he said he's having a lot more fun on this one than he did in Africa.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because he's like, I don't have like 1,000 kilometers of sand. He's like, he's stopping at pubs. He's, going to the soccer matches. He's having a good time. The weather is like perfect. In his Instagram post, he's talking about the difference between Germany and Africa. So he's having himself a good time. He's running to all the England soccer matches, and England did win their first match that he was at. So yeah, that's the hardest geezer update. And then we were talking about Kristian Morgan last episode. Kristian Morgan is doing a northbound Appalachian Trail FKT attempt, and his tracker wasn't working last episode, but the tracker is working now. And this is like a really cool tracker he's got going here, because you can see the whole Appalachian Trail, and you can see where he's at, and then you can see where the current AT Northbound record holder, which is Carl Saab from Belgium, it was on the same day. So he's 26 days and 18 hours into the Appalachian Trail, and he's ahead. He's ahead of Carl's time.
He's quite a bit ahead of him too.
Yeah, it does kind of seem that way. Yeah, it is in 26 days. It's amazing how far, he started at southbound in Georgia, and he is in Connecticut. He's almost through Connecticut now. So he's getting close to Massachusetts. I haven't really followed it too closely on social media, but I would have to say, like, barring any major like injury or setback, it's his record to lose, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so I came across a TikTok account that was talking about it, and I guess he had himself 2 banger 60-mile days back to back, and that's where he really jumped out. Like, he was able to back to back 60 dayers, and he rewarded himself with like a sub 50-mile day, which is kind of funny to think about. Or maybe
his rest day.
Yeah, I don't think he gave himself a full day off. I think he just did reduced miles. I can't really remember what the guy said, but I mean, to do back to back 60-mile days this far into it, and that's where he really stretched. But like you said, like, he's got a couple days jump on him right now. And again, knock on wood, without any major incidents, easily the most treacherous part of the AT is several hundred miles still in front of him. Like, when he gets up into Maine and he starts getting like, I think there's stretches in New Hampshire that gets kind of sketchy.
Well, New Hampshire is, this whole Northeast is like super technical.
Yeah. So once he makes it, I mean, quite frankly, once he makes it out of, he's in Connecticut now. He's getting ready to hit Massachusetts. Once he leaves
Vermont,
Massachusetts,
New Hampshire.
Yeah, I don't think it hits Vermont though, does it? Like, I think the AT like scoots off to the. I'm not sure
here's
if it dips over.
Vermont. I thought it did go through like the White Mountains and
maybe just like the side of. But once he Montpelier. Oh wait, Montpelier would be Vermont, wouldn't it? So I know once he gets out of Massachusetts, once he gets up in, it's going to get really gnarly, really gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the toughest sections ahead of him, so anything could happen, really.
Yeah, but it is also, the other thing that's really kind of cool about it. The other thing I kind of noticed was kind of sort of funny, and I don't know if there's, like, you were talking about how the tracker went down for a little while, so I don't know if stuff was just lost because it never even really uploaded. But if you go back down, like if you go down into like Tennessee, like you can see where he uploaded photos.
Oh.
And it's on the tracker, right? But it nothing since he left Tennessee. So I don't know if there's like, okay, this is starting to suck. This is like the fun and games are over, or if it's like an upload issue.
Like he was taking a lot. Oh, look at that snake.
Yeah.
That's so, oh my God. So he was taking a lot of photos right at the beginning.
Yeah. And then it's just nothing, like radio silence, like shit got real.
Yeah. So I mean, once you like have to spend all of your energy focusing on just moving forward, like photos are the last thing on your mind, I'm sure. But he has the current southbound record. So he is familiar with what he has ahead of him, but not like, maybe, I don't know if he has done it northbound in the past. I thought he didn't attempt northbound once, but I can't remember. But anyways, you're right. He does have the toughest sections ahead of him. So it'll be interesting. We'll continue to follow.
The other thing we need to look into before next week's episode is, I guess, over on the PCT, a new FKT attempt is underway over on the PCT too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I heard something about it. I didn't have a chance to look into it, but it sounds like it 'tis the season, baby, for FKT chips. So we'll
Yeah.
have to look into that before next week.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to check that out. All right. Well, let's move into a little news here and a little more on the tragic side of
Yeah, this is
ultra running.
crazy.
And this has happened a couple times in the last 5 years. Well, the worst one was in China when multiple
Yeah.
runners died when that crazy storm came in out of nowhere in that 100K in China, and a lot of people got trapped up on that mountain. And they didn't have required gear; they just had T-shirts, and it was like a nice, hot, perfect day, and this and that. So, and then somebody died at the TDS event in UTMB couple of, like 2 years ago, I'm thinking, from a fall, and in really bad weather. And TDS is like a very technical course. Well, it's happened again at this race in France, the Ultra Trail du Haut Giffre race in France, and it was inclement weather, and it's a very, very technical race, I believe, and like steep slopes and things like that. And it said that 4:35 a.m. local time Saturday morning, because the falls in a mountainous area made slippery by weather conditions. And then what happened there? I thought they described what happened, but like multiple runners fell.
I think the folks that fell were only severely injured, but I think the gentleman who passed away, they're saying was possibly cardiac arrest.
Yeah, I think he did. Maybe he fell too, but he died of a heart attack. Yeah. So just tragic. And this is I think this is one of the things about mountain ultras that it's just such an unknown. I mean, storms can just pop up out of nowhere. They're not in the forecast necessarily, and that's why a lot of races have moved to required gear and that kind of thing. But in this case, it's like it's just the terrain got rocky terrain got slippery. And yeah, some people fell. You can look at this picture here.
I just want to say,
look at this downhill.
Picture. Yeah. And like what's crazy is it doesn't even really look like they're on the trail right now. I'm assuming it's because it's the angle, and it's because it's the way it's cut into the side of the mountain there. Like it's running away from us. That's why you can't really see it. But still, that thing is vertical. That is vertical.
And to be honest with you, I would rather go down this green part than go down that dirt trail. Like that dirt trail is like you're just gonna fall. Like you probably have better traction out in that green area. But
see, what's funny is I don't think they're on the green though. Is what I'm saying. Like you see how the dirt trail that we can see it because it's running like toward the angle that we're looking at it.
Yeah.
Where they are is dirt trail also, but it's so steep and it's cut into the side of the mountain and it's running away from us.
Gotcha.
So you can't even see it. That's how steep it is. It's like a 90-degree angle into the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
It is nuts. Like it is but what's wild is like at the top underneath the watermark of the ultra trail, I think you can see people standing there too.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you can click on that picture and it zooms in a little bit.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It is just crazy how steep it is.
Yeah. And
I don't know, man.
The Alps are very steep. I mean, they're very technical.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just tragedy. The one runner died. Right here. Okay, in the comments section, the spouse of one participant in the 96K wrote, "My husband, together with 20 other participants, was stuck on Point d'Aguillon for hours and could not get off because the paths were no longer passable and could not be rescued by emergency services. Ultimately, they had to climb down the impassable side of the mountain at the risk of their own lives. And media outlets reports that rescue process took most of the day Saturday, involved the race's organization resources, 73 local firefighters, and a mountain rescue team from Chamonix. So various runners decided to stop at various aid stations due to bad weather. Others received text messages from the organization saying the race was being halted and participants evacuated. Some participants also shared they saw others take small to moderate falls in addition to those who were severely injured. The nature of the accident, race participants sharing on social media, the weather took a turn for the worse around 3 a.m. local time. The trails turned into flowing torrents of water and became very slippery. So,
yeah.
So it makes sense. I mean, it's just, one of those tragic things, and that's a serious risk with our sport. I mean, there's risk with anything you do in life. There's risk with any sport, but you hate to see it. You hate to see it for sure. And I don't know if this was a case of bad race management. I think it was just kind of like,
I think it's fluke
bad
weather.
luck.
Yeah.
So I don't know if if the storms were forecasted or not. If they were, then maybe it is race management, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. And I think there's a ton of people in these races too. Like I thought I saw somewhere it was like 3,000 people across the race, all the races, but I could be wrong on that. All right, let's move on from that news. And so we are getting close. We are getting really close to Western States. And I will say, like, this year, Western States is going to be, it's going to be like it is always, like just crazy amounts of talent, but it's going to be exciting to follow. And so it's a week from Saturday. So I think next episode, we're going to do maybe just a little preview of the men's and women's. But this week, I just want to go over a little article that AJW wrote for iRunFar. And this is intriguing storylines and predictions for the 2024 Western States 100. And so his predictions are that Eric Spector is attempting to become the oldest finisher of Western States 100. He's 77 years old from Marin County. He's had an impressive build-up, strong finishes at Big Alta 50K, which is pretty tough 50K. They had the inaugural event. There's like 7,000 feet of climbing there. Napa Valley Endurance Run 50K and Marin Ultra Challenge 50 mile, which I ran as well.
There you
go. And he's logged over 200 miles on the Western States course in preparation for the big day. So we'll see. We'll see if Eric Spector, 77 years old, can complete.
I mean, I'm pulling
Western
for him.
100.
I'm pulling for him.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to follow. And 1,000 mile bucklers. So it is so hard now for people to get 1,000 mile buckles because it's so hard to get into the race. And if you run the race, the only way you're guaranteed back in is if you are top 10. So if you finish, you have to, start over with your qualifiers. And so it's been 5 years since they've seen a 10-time finisher. But this year, 3 runners are attempting to claim their 1,000 mile buckles. Philip Sanderson of California, Ken Ward of Oregon, and Casey Lichtig from Nebraska. And, Casey Lichtig, she won the race before. She's won Western States. There she is in the picture winning the 2016. Yep.
So she should, let's be honest, she should finish.
Oh, without a doubt.
I get it. She's I mean, she's probably still an elite. Like, she's not a uber competitive elite, so she's going to have the speed to where, I mean, she's going to be able to get out in front of it.
Yeah.
And even if she starts not feeling great, like, she can swallow some humble pie and be like, okay, I'll finish middle of the pack, hell, even low middle of the pack, and still get my thought. Like, she should do it just for the honor of having the 1,000. Because, like you said,
Yeah.
it's and like it's early to.
She had a major injury, and like she had to rehab from that injury, and
Yeah.
she's come a long way back. So and I heard her on AJW's podcast, Crack a Brew with AJW.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I'm knock on wood, but I have no doubt she's gonna get it done. So.
Yeah. It's a shame because, like you said, we're getting fewer and fewer of the 1,000-mile buckle finishers, and it's not because. I mean, it's because of the way the race is being managed, right? Like, it's just like it doesn't have to be this way, but like they're. I don't know if we're going to talk about it here in a little bit, but look what races are qualifiers now. Like, they're starting to get like pay to play kind of mentalities involved in this.
Yeah.
And it's just getting harder and harder, and it's getting tougher and tougher to get in.
Yeah.
And so you slowly start losing a lot of this charm and a lot of this like really great things that people loved about this race,
Yeah.
It really sucks. I really hope, like, as much as I'm rooting for Eric, as much as I'm rooting for Eric, I am really pulling for Philip, Ken, and Casey because Casey, I mean, she's an elite. She can probably always get back in there somehow, some way with a golden ticket, right?
The Pixie Ninja.
Yeah, but like Philip and Ken, I mean, like, it's harder and harder, man, harder and harder.
Yep. And if you have your chance, man, you gotta
capitalize.
You gotta go. You gotta capitalize. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because who knows if you're gonna get in again?
Yeah.
No defending champions. So while Jim Walmsley, this is the next prediction by AJW. Jim Walmsley and Casey Lichtig, 2 previous Western States winners, are in the field this year. Neither from the 2023 edition is returning. So Tom Evans won for the men, Courtney DeWalter won for the women. Neither of them are running this year, so it's impossible to have a defending champion. But that's cool. It leaves it open. But I mean, Jim Walmsley obviously is the heavy favorite.
But
you never know, man. You never know.
Now, how amazing is the storyline if Casey wins this year along with getting the 1,000-mile buckle?
Like, you couldn't draw it up any better.
That has it even happened before? Has a winning race? Like, that's got to be a complete, like, holy cow.
Yeah. I highly doubt that that's happened.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be.
I'm pulling for it.
Yeah, let's go Pixie Ninja. That would be really cool. The women's race. So in 2023, we saw an incredible women's race. Courtney DeWalter won course record time, 15 hours, 29 minutes. 10th place woman, Colorado's Megan Morgan, finished 18 hours, 11 minutes, a time that would have won the race outright several times over the years. This women's field, even more stacked than last year. AJW's anticipating more density at the front of the pack this time around. The women's race is wide open. Obviously, Katie Scheid is going to be the heavy favorite coming in, but there's no guarantees there. It's gonna be awesome. And like I said, we'll do a little preview of the men's and women next week, but it should be an exciting women's race this year for sure. Okay, environmental factors. So let's face it, last year there was a lot of snow in the high country, but as far as temperature goes, they had like a perfect year last year. I mean, it was overcast and it was maybe like 80, right? Like, as a high. So they got really lucky with weather last year. other than the snow in the high country. So this is saying Mother Nature's not been kind to Western states over the past few years between wildfire, snow, and road closures. The challenges facing the organization have been immense. This year, it looks like things are returning to normal. There's still damage from the mosquito fire in 2022, but the forest is returning. Mosquito Ridge Road, the major road accessing Duncan Canyon and Dusty Corners aid stations, has been reopened after being closed for 18 months. And unless there's significant late spring storms, it looks like the snowpack will be minimal in the high country. So should be a good year as far as course conditions go, but the temperature remains to be seen, right? And the extended forecast right now, I should look this up, but
it's looking like, because I was reading some stuff about that AJW had tweeted out earlier today. The weather, the extended, it's looking like it's going to be dead on the average.
Okay,
it's going to be dead on the average because I don't know if you saw this earlier today on Twitter or not, but AJW was tweeting about everything weather-wise, it should be dead on ass average. No snow, average temperatures. And then AJW tweeted out a thing because Western states released their 2025 qualifiers, right? And then, that poked the old grumpy bear of Carl. So Carl.
Speed goat?
Yeah, well, Speed goat was like, and like, talked about, tweeted out a pretty funny reply about, what the race is turning into, and we'll be making bets, from Vegas, watching it in our recliners, and it just kind of was like,
you can already do fantasy free trail picks on free trail.
So
looks like the high in Auburn on Saturday, the 29th, is 93.
Yeah.
Low of 64. So I imagine it's going to be in the low hundreds in the canyons. So it's going to be average. It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot. It's going to be about heat management. So, and then AJW's race predictions. Jim Walmsley for the men, Katie Scheid for the women, and they're definitely the heavy favorites. So but it'll be interesting to see if if somebody can overtake, or Hayden Hawks is running, and Tyler Green is running. Tyler Green always does great at Western States. He got second last year.
The young gun is coming out of South Kakalaki. As long as he can be disciplined and not blow himself up and run a bunch of miles going into it. Shoot, what was daggone it? Why is his name slip in my mind, Jamie?
Who are you thinking of?
The young dude that set the course record but didn't set the course record at Rocky.
Oh. Yeah.
He'll be there. There.
We'll do the preview. We'll do the men's preview next week, and we'll go over that. Rachel Drake, she's another one that she could take Katie Scheid, and she had a really good run at Black Canyon this year.
Yep.
I did hear she is going to be moving though the week of Western States. So in my history of moving the week of a 100-mile race and that I DNF'd, it didn't work out too well.
Does that not work out well for you?
It did not. That coupled with a whole bunch of other things that were stressing me out. But yeah, that wasn't good when you close on your house and then you have to be out by Wednesday and your race is across the country on Saturday.
I am stunned to hear that did not work out for you.
Yeah. Living in Michigan, racing in Oregon.
Jeez.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Yeah, we're about at time, so I think we're going to call it
110. Yeah, good episode, good timing.
Yep. But yeah, thanks everyone. As always, thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. hit us up, leave us a comment, shoot us an email, comment on social media.
Since we're still here, for those of you who made it to this hour and 10 mark, I did throw. So I had seen on Twitter that Ultra Running Podcast, right? Pretty good follow, pretty good dude. Had posted this comment about like what's happened to trail running, what's happened to ultras, and then just a couple of days later, I see this TikTok of a rave in the park, and I thought, holy hell, this is what happened to it. So I took that video and I posted it to Twitter, Threads, and Facebook. So if you haven't seen that, go find it. Take a watch of that video. Let me know. Let us know in the comments what you're feeling on that. What's your thoughts? Is this something that is just going to send you over the edge of engrossed rage? Or are you in the ballpark of like, hey, it's their woods too. Let them do what they're going to do. I really want to hear what everyone's thoughts on that. So I posted it on Threads, on Threads, Twitter, and Facebook. Go find it. Give it a watch. Let us know what your thoughts are on it.
So what is this again? It's a rave in the park?
It's called a rave in a park. It's on our Facebook page.
Okay.
I highly
you can tell I'm on vacation.
Yeah. I highly encourage you to go give it a watch. You will have to download TikTok though, I think. I don't know if there's a way to watch TikToks now without downloading it. Dude, I'm here to tell you that I have thoughts, but I want to hold my thoughts back, and I want to hear what other people's thoughts are before you go into. So if you haven't watched it yet, and you haven't commented, please go do so.
All right, we'll recap it. We'll recap it next weekend. I really don't want to download TikTok. Like I'm trying to avoid social media, but because of this podcast or news show, I'm now back on Facebook kind of, and on Instagram and Threads, which I didn't even know anything about.
Yeah.
I seen you posted something about the wearing Crocs thing. And funny enough, I did have this story queued up about this guy set a record for doing a marathon in Crocs. And we were talking about, remember that one episode we were talking about, like, is Crocs becoming a thing, like trail running? Like, I'm like, what? That's stupid. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
cool.
Johnny, have a good one.
Yeah. Everyone else, have a good one.
Yep. Everybody out there, have a good long run this weekend. And we'll be back next week with our little Western States preview. So
cool. All right. See everyone later.
See ya.